When we approve of it, we call it love, kindness, caring, bonding, belonging, identity, self-esteem. When we disapprove, we call it ego, narcissism, vanity, self-aggrandizement, delusions of grandeur, virtue signaling, grandstanding, bragging, and showing off. The common currency of it all is the great undercurrent of the human condition and our ambivalence about it. The human need for self-affirmation, self-reassurance, evidence that we are more than adequate, ways that we can assure ourselves that at least we are or have this. When someone says, "Why don't you love me?" they mean affirm me more. When someone says, "Don't be egotistical," they mean don't be so self-affirming. Affirmationomics. The supply of and demand for affirmation explains human behavior better than any other theory. You could call it egonomics, but again, people tend to shun ego as if it's beneath them. If you want to understand or predict what people do, just follow the affirmation. What they want to be and are getting affirmed for, and where they aim to get more affirmation. To follow the affirmation, you have to read between the lines. No one says, "I'm committed to my beliefs because they affirm me." No one says, "I want a partner because I crave a reliable source of affirmation." That sounds egotistical, bad. So they'll call their beliefs rational, good, and their quest for partnership, love, good. The human need for affirmation isn't beneath you, me, or any of us. To recognize your appetite for it, try this. You go to a party where you see someone better than you. Better looks, smarts, money, charm, whatever. It makes you uncomfortable. Automatically, your intuition claims a good feature you got that they don't have. Prejudice is that process in bulk, a sado-narcissistic way to discount and dismiss whole swaths of humanity. You may not like that you seek affirmation. You may think such self-elevation is lowly, but it's there in all of us. And it's compassionate, not cynical, to recognize that this need for reassurance and affirmation is central to the human condition. Still, it's really hard to admit it. We need to not feel needy. It's not reassuring to admit that we need reassurance. Admitting that we need to feel adequate makes us feel inadequate. And why are humans so needy? Was it capitalism or the internet? Were we once different? Did we fall from grace when we lost the humble, harmonious innocence we see in nature? Yes and no. Biology is cooperative and competitive. All organisms care more about themselves and their offspring than they do about other organisms. All organisms are selves struggling for their own existence, and therefore selfish to some degree. Biology is unmoral, neither moral or immoral. Morality has no relevance in the non-human world. That's why, while we may be shocked at a predator's ruthless mauling of prey, we don't blame them. Morality is a human thing, and it has to do with how we fell from grace. Not as recently as the internet and social media, but way back when we evolved language. Language makes us radically different from other critters. As with other animals, our priority is comfort in our own skins. But unlike other animals, our feelings are easily triggered by our language-fueled imaginations. We can conceive of anything, real or imaginary. No other organism can do that. That's what makes us the needy creatures we are. We're more visionary and delusional, anxious and euphoric than other species. With language, we can idealize and notice how far we fall short of the ideal. And we can self-idealize. So yes, in a way, a fall from grace. In the beginning was the Word, not the beginning of the universe or life, and not the Word of God, but the beginning of human words. Our acquisition of language is mythologized as Adam and Eve eating from the tree of knowledge and being cast naked, ashamed, out of the Garden of Eden, where life in its unmoral innocence cooperates and competes. Humans trudge through a sandstorm of confidence-eroding concepts. All the fictional and non-fictional, past, present, and future threats and missed opportunities that remind us how we could fall short of the ideal, and threaten, poke, and tear away at our comfort in our own skin. So of course we seek conceptual cover, reassurance that we're okay. More than okay, actually, a buffer of self-reassurance, like money in the bank. We'd want to feel demotion-proof, perma-firmed, protected against all future setbacks. We wouldn't turn down eternal affirmation any more than we'd turn down infinite money. We idolize people who seem perma-firmed, permanently affirmed, and we self-idealize as legends in our own minds. Affirmation is the core currency, but it comes in many denominations. We can get a sense of that, at least we have this and not that, through what we own, who likes us, our lifestyle, beliefs, experiences, accomplishments, looks, fitness, prospects here or in some imagined afterlife. The list goes on. One way or another, it reassures us. Humans are to reassurance as hummingbirds are to nectar, needing a sip every few minutes and getting it where we can. But needing to not feel needy, we don't admit that we're getting it. We take our sources of reassurance for granted, only noticing when they dry up. A partner departs, a job ends, a loved one dies, and suddenly the thirst for self-affirmation can become unbearable. Jonesing for affirmation, we can always self-affirm with humble brags, though discreet. We don't want to expose our neediness. Sure, we have new sources of reassurance through social media, but the appetite has been there in us since the origin of Homo sapiens, or perhaps FOMO sapiens. Sapiens meaning thinking, conceptualizing through language. FOMO meaning fear of missing out on the self-reassuring affirmation we crave. It's there in our earliest beliefs in imagined gods, spirits, and forces that reassure us if we're loyal to them. You may object to this affirmationomic interpretation of the human condition. It can sound so cold and transactional. Besides, if it drives human behavior, why isn't it the central theory in the social sciences? I suspect it gets less attention than it should because we need to not feel needy. You're not going to win affirmation from clients or research colleagues by talking about our neediness. You can talk about the neediness of narcissists, but present company accepted. Cast it instead in positive terms. People need identity, love, and care, but should never be needy, greedy, egotistical, or selfish.